Good morning, Chairperson Ellenberg.
Good morning, Jess. Dave checked my sound, but glad to say good morning to you as well.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
And this is the clerk again with a courtesy announcement that this meeting is now broadcast live on our web portal and YouTube.
Hi, Kavita. I see you've joined us. Would you like to do a microphone test?
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. I can hear you. Thank you. And Tammy, I see you've joined us as well. If you'd like to do a microphone test.
Good morning. How are you, Colin?
Doing good. I can see you and I can hear you. Thank you.
Again, group is on the agenda, so the group has to agree what they're going to do.
And Judge Zahner, I see you've joined us. Would you like to do a microphone test?
Yes, I'm here.
I can see you and I can hear you. Thank you very much.
Coming back. Oh, that is how.
And Casey, I see you've joined us. Would you like to do a microphone test?
Hi, good morning.
I can see you and I can hear you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Terry, I see you've joined us. Would you like to do a microphone test?
Hi, good morning, everyone.
I can hear you. Thank you. It's 9:58. I'm still waiting for Supervisor Wasserman. In the meanwhile, is there anyone I've missed for microphone tests that would like to test out their microphone? Javier, I see you've joined us. Would you like to do a microphone test?
Good morning. This is Javier.
I can hear you. Thank you very much. Well, that will conclude microphone test for now, and we'll start the meeting when Supervisor Wasserman arrives. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Recording in progress.
Good morning, Vice Chairperson Wasserman. You are muted. You are still muted. I have faith in you. There you go.
There we go. Thank you. Here.
Good morning, Supervisor Wasserman.
Good morning, Vice President and Chair Ellenberg.
It is 9:59. I will call the meeting to order in about 30 seconds and ask Jess to take the roll. It is now 10 o'clock on Thursday, October 13th. This is the monthly meeting of the Santa Clara County Public Safety and Justice Committee meeting. And Jess, will you take roll, please, to establish the presence of a quorum?
Vice Chairperson Wasserman,
Here.
Chairperson Ellenberg.
I'm here as well.
Thank
With
you.
that, we'll move on to item 2, which is public comment. Public comment is that portion of the agenda set aside for members of the public wishing to speak to the committee and the board on matters not on today's agenda, but within the purview of the committee. Do we have any speakers today?
There are no requests.
All right, then we will move on to the consent calendar, item 3. I'm logging in this morning from the foggy Monterey Bay, where the California State Association of Counties is currently hosting its executive committee retreat. And there are actually sessions going on this morning where I'm expected to present. So with your indulgence, I'd like to add items 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 to the consent calendar. I want to assure staff that I, and I'm certain my colleague, Supervisor Wasserman, have thoroughly reviewed all of the items, and I would not have asked to move them to consent if I had any concerns or questions. And of course, the public has access to all of these reports as well. Thank you to staff for all of the excellent work on the reports. Supervisor Wasserman, do these additions to the consent calendar work for you?
No, I think I'd like to hear them all. I'm kidding you.
As
Yes,
is your privilege.
They work just fine for me, Madam Chair. So your motion was 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, and 16?
Yes, it was.
Thank you. I'll second that.
Before we take a vote and go to public comment, I do just want to make a brief comment on item 11. I'd like to forward the report to the upcoming board jail study session with a recommendation that the board direct administration and county council to work with the sheriff's office to transfer the program unit positions to the Department of Corrections with the goal of increasing civilian oversight of the jails. So I will add that to my motion, as well as approval of the amended consent calendar.
Agreed.
That's still fine with you?
Yep.
Excellent. Jess, do we have any public comments on consent?
I see no requests.
All right, let's take a vote then, please.
Vice Chairperson Wasserman,
Aye.
Chairperson Ellenberg.
Yes. Thank you. Item 4 is the ATI work group update, and I'll begin and then turn to county administration. The county's alternatives to incarceration work groups kicked off their first meeting last month. As I mentioned in past monthly updates on this item, the ATI work groups are a project of PSJC in which a series of 6 meetings is bringing together county and community stakeholders from across our criminal legal system. This cross-system collaboration is aimed at creating policy recommendations for county alternatives to incarceration that should be improved, expanded, or created, and to build valuable partnerships between stakeholders across the county along the way. And in regard to the goal of breaking down silos, we kicked off the work groups with a social event that encouraged work group members who are coming from very different backgrounds, some with lived experience with incarceration, others who are survivors of harm, members of law enforcement, healthcare providers, folks from our county's own criminal legal system departments, to get to know each other as people, which is, in my view, the most necessary first step for us to really build out possible systems change. So thank you to everyone here who came out to enjoy the food, music, icebreaker, bingo game, and face-to-face conversations. We had over 45 registrants, and I really appreciated getting to talk to participants in person. I'll hand it over to administration to provide an update on how the meetings themselves are going.
Thank you so much, Supervisor. This is Deputy County Executive Martha Wapensky. I have a 2-part update today. First, I want to, as you said, let you know about the work that's been done so far between the work groups and the contract facilitator RDA, and then talk about the work that's planned for October. So as you mentioned, that the work groups already got started. RDA, the consultant, kicked off the sessions for each of the 3 work groups in September. And as a reminder for the group, each group has a different focus. The three areas are intervention at the start, criminal legal process, and reentry. And so the first session in September consisted of a general overview of the project and the goals, and as well as the roles of the work group members, the level of participation requested by each of the participants, and then brainstorming about potential high impact areas within each group's intercept point. So I wanted to let the committee know that those sessions had a high level of attendance, with many participants expressing eagerness and a positive outlook for the project. And then the second part of my presentation here today is about the work plan for October. We wanted to let the committee and the public know that the October ATI work group sessions with the facilitator RDA have been postponed just for the month of October. As you know, the ATI work is complex and multifaceted. And so RDA plans to meet with individual work group members this month to prepare materials and discussion topics that would spur a more robust, focused and well-informed discussion and engagement during the full work group meetings that will in November and forward. So the ATI work is very important. We want to ensure this committee and the public, to get the best results from the work group recommendations. And we do want to apologize for the last minute notification to the attendees of the work groups, but we would rather that the contractor RDA take the time they need this month so that the work group meetings could be the most effective with respect to the members' time. And then finally, the administration will be working with RDA on an updated timeline so that the work groups don't miss out on any of the important and planned discussions. So that's my status report on the ATI work groups.
Thank you, Martha. I'm virtually looking, hard to see any of you, but to any of the committee members who attended one of those meetings, if you're with us today, if you'd like to share any observations, constructive direction, or other commentary on the first meetings, that would be helpful to hear. And Jess, if you could help me, if anybody raises their hand, let me know, or just go ahead and call on them for me.
No problem. There are no hands in the panelist list yet.
Okay. Supervisor Wasserman. Let me hang on one minute, Mike. Let me go to Assistant Public Defender Damon Silver.
I would just share, I was at the reentry portion one. I thought people, as Martha described, were engaged, excited. We were looking, I think, for a little bit more direction of what kind of the deliverables were going to be through the process of that particular meeting. But I thought the energy was really good in the room and a lot of voices. So I was really encouraged, and I felt like others were as well.
Thanks. Glad to hear about enthusiasm. Absolutely, the deliverables are essential. So thank you for that, Damon. Javier.
Good morning. Yes, I attended 2 of the 3 work groups, and a lot of the community members were quite interested in the existing ATI efforts that we're undertaking. So we were providing them with the information, and there was that document that I believe Supervisor Ellenberg, your staff created, that had a list of all the different programs and services we offer. So I mentioned that to the community members, that's a good resource document. And then in the chat, that was another opportunity for county staff to mention some programs. And just a reminder not to put acronyms, so always make sure that people know the services and programs we have. But that's something that very appreciative of sharing with the community at these ATI meetings. Thank you.
Thanks, Javier, and thank you for recognizing the work of Autumn Leung and putting together that primer. Anyone who attended the social event in person did get a hardbound copy of it. We have more copies in my office for members that weren't there. If they would like to receive a hard copy, they should reach out to my office and we can get it. For broader members of the public, if you're not on the community, on one of the committees, we can send you a soft copy, so you'll have all of the same content, but we did limit the printing for financial responsibility reasons. Thank you. Anybody else? Back to you, Supervisor Wasserman, then. Oh, Dr. Day. I'm so sorry, Mike. People just delay a little bit.
That's just fine.
Yeah,
was
it's
trying to
great.
find the button.
Go ahead,
And
Dr. Day, please.
thank you, Supervisor Ellenberg. And I too attended 2 of the 3 groups and the kickoff group as well. And I think I'm really encouraged, although it is a cross, collection and collective of different folks from different walks and experiences and or stakeholders. The encouraging piece is that at the end, I think there's a lot of commonality and there's a lot of common desire to sort of look at all of the systems and the approaches and what are the leading practices in the alternatives to jail. So I was pretty encouraged about the commonality and the binds that is crossing everyone and connecting everyone. Thank you.
Good. Thank you so much. That's really helpful. I will pause longer this time.
That's all right. I'll just jump right in. All right. Is that all right, Madam Chair?
Go for it.
So thank you. I want to thank Deputy County Executive Martha Wapensky for the report and all the individuals that helped compile it. The scope section starting on page 10 was a nice little summary for me of various terms and actions and things that are happening. I appreciate that. And I want everybody to know that Vice President Ellenberg prints out fewer things than any other supervisor by far. She's very environmentally friendly. So if there is a hard copy available, you might want to grab it because that's a rarity indeed. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. If there are no other comments from the virtual dais, and I'm looking, don't want to preclude anyone's opportunity. Do we have any public speakers on this item?
There are no hands raised.
All right, we don't need a motion or a vote. We just received the report and there's no further direction. So item 6 is the inmate grievance report. And I will turn to the Sheriff's Office for either presentation or going directly to questions.
Good morning, Chairperson Ellenberg and Vice Chair Wasserman. This is Captain Michelle Aston from the Sheriff's Office. We do not have a presentation for today. However, Lieutenant Nguyen from our Grievance unit is available to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Fantastic. I really appreciated the transparency in the Sheriff's Grievance reports, and I was certainly concerned about the significant increases in grievances at Elmwood. The Elmwood Men's Facility saw a 90% increase in grievances, which was particularly surprising, I have to say, this quarter compared to last year. And the Elmwood Women's Facility saw a 46% increase. Looking to the Sheriff's Office to provide any explanation you can for this increase, please.
Good morning, supervisors. This is Lieutenant Joe Nguyen giving an update for the grievances. Yeah, we did receive a significant amount of grievances this past quarter compared to the previous quarter. The numbers have gone down a little bit. I think we were over 300% for Elmwood. Elmwood Women's was a little higher before the previous quarter. We did introduce tablets, and so the ease of submission. Can you hear me? I'm sorry, my internet just says connection is unstable.
Yeah, you can hear you fine, Lieutenant.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. So the ease of submission for inmates have definitely increased. We streamlined the process. So our grievance unit, we've definitely felt the increase for the last year and a half since tablet deployments. We did also notice that a lot of submissions also are from severely mentally ill units and inmates. For example, I know that one of the stats on here is the top 2 category is the staff conduct complaints. We did an analysis on the staff conduct complaints specifically as well, and we noticed that about 20 inmates system-wide with an average daily population of about 3,000, so less than 1% of the population is submitting all of the grievances in this category. And so we do have a lot of inmates that are high grievers, and we do partner with the Ombuds office. So this past quarter, we reviewed all the top 20 inmates. We referred them, sent them a letter and say, hey, you know what? We have a partnership with the Ombudsman. They are here as a service to maybe mediate unmet needs and services and advice. And immediately after the letters were sent out, we had 13 inmates that called the number directly. So the response was pretty good, 13 out of 20. So that is another service that we are leveraging from the county to provide inmates with another avenue. And also just for an example, there's one particular inmate on this list. He submitted 19 staff conduct complaints with different allegations, PREA content that required a lot of extensive research and reviews for daily staffing analysis, video camera review. Inmates had different names, staff members, locations, dates, and times. So the investigative sergeant looked into it hours into this investigation and realized that the staff members hadn't worked in the facility in years, were transferred out to another location, or didn't work on that specific day. So he presented the facts to the inmate, and the inmate actually confirmed. He's like, oh, you know what? I just had a dream. I had a dream that all these things occurred. And so after the allegations were unfounded, we did refer the inmate to our behavioral health team for further assessment and treatment. So we try to get a meaningful response and to ensure that all allegations are thoroughly vetted and thoroughly looked into. So.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant. I think it would be, and I very much appreciate your description of the way that was handled, resulting in a behavioral health referral. I think it might be helpful in future reports to maybe break out the number of unduplicated grievances and where there are people with multiple ones. Those numbers are significant because it really impacts the way we're able to really evaluate what it means to have X% of increase in grievances, and really does present a different picture if it's by a small number or large number of people. So thank you for that. When I was reviewing the dashboards, I also saw that the Sheriff's Office reported in June that you were working to address grievances from 2 dorms, particular dorms where people reported limited program time due to short staffing and constant facility lockdowns. So to address the ongoing staffing shortages and to mitigate those concerns, I understand that I read that the Sheriff's Office said that they reevaluated facility staffing needs and prepared an operational plan to realign and allocate deputies across the jail system. I'd be interested to learn more about these efforts to address the staffing shortages noted in the report, as well as the court's previous reports on how the deputy shortage has had serious impacts system-wide, and really the critical need for programming for people in custody and to comply with the consent decrees. I think this information is going to be really important when we discuss progress on the jail reforms at the Board of Supervisors meeting next week. Would the Sheriff's Office be able to provide a report on the operational realignment plan that the Sheriff has executed, deputy vacancy rates compared to neighboring counties, and any efforts to retain and recruit deputies that have been made? I know for sure that this is a short timeline until next Tuesday's jail study session. So a preliminary report would be acceptable if all of that information can't be gathered, and then the board could receive a full report as an off agenda later. Does that work?
Chairperson Ellenberg,
Yes.
Captain Asman. Yes, we can most certainly start a preliminary report and provide as much information for that upcoming meeting.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Captain. Finally, I noticed that medical was one of the most grieved categories. I also recognize that it's a category that's not directly within the purview of the Sheriff's Office. So I'm thinking to streamline review of the grievance reports. I'd like to ask that the Sheriff's Office work with Custody Health to combine their future reports and present them to PSJC at the same time. Dr. Day and the Sheriff's Office folks, does that work for both of you, all of you?
That does work.
Thanks, Dr. Day.
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Great, thank you so much. Supervisor Wasserman, anything additional to
Madam
add?
Chair, yes, I want to thank the captain and the lieutenant. Excellent as far as the report. The 1% of 3,000 people puts it in perspective. 19 complaints from one person, most of which, if not all, were unfounded, puts it in perspective. I like your suggestion about, noting which ones are multiple, which ones are single. I think we need to put it all in perspective. And I also want to congratulate the captain and the lieutenant about once they got to the bottom of the 19 complaints from the one person, many of which were about employees that no longer work there, that, as you said, Madam Chair, they found a place to get that person help. And I think that speaks very, very well. I think you're doing a great job as far as the complaints. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
Thank you. Are there comments or questions from any of the other panelists here? And if not, Jess, do we have any public speakers?
I do not see any hands raised.
Oh, it is a quiet morning here. That takes us all the way down then to item 13, which is announcements. And I'm looking to the court and all of our departments to see if any of you have announcements. Looking for hands. Nick, Richard, go right ahead, please.
Yeah, no, just that the receipt of our report, and wanted to thank the Juvenile Justice Commission for their continued diligent work that they do with us, and their reports are certainly well written, as everyone can see, and the information that's provided in there we certainly use to improve our systems and the care for kids. And so I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank them for the hard work that they've done over the years. It's really impressive to see the work that they do and the care they have.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Casey.
Good morning, Chairperson Ellenberg, Vice Chair Wasserman, and members of the Public Safety and Justice Committee. I wanted to provide a brief update on County and City of San Jose collaboration since the 9/8 joint meeting. Since that time, City of San Jose and County criminal justice agencies have continued to meet in order to further common goals. Supervising District Attorney Marissa McEwen, who is not on the call but did want me to update all of you, that she's met with San Jose Police Department, and she's in the process of filming a training video for patrol officers about some of the key takeaways from the joint session on bail procedure. And they anticipate that that video will be available for all new recruits and for patrol in the next few weeks. In addition, there was a recent meeting between county and city partners to discuss mental health holds, jail booking procedure, and civil detention. So we're happy to continue to provide regular updates as these meetings progress.
Thank you very much for that
welcome.
report. Casey, piggybacking on to that, I sent a follow-up letter on that joint meeting to Councilmember Perales, thanking him and the city's Public Safety, Finance, and Strategic Support Committee for their willing collaboration and highlighting some areas of growth in our coordination of services. That letter is attached as an agenda item, as an agenda attachment under this announcement item. Any other announcements, comments? I don't think we do public speakers on this item. So if there's nothing else, I really thank you all for your efficiency this morning. We're going to adjourn to the next regular meeting of the Public Safety and Justice Committee on Thursday, November 22nd at 10 a.m.
Thank you. Have a good speech at CSAC, Madam Chair.
Thanks, Mike. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Recording stopped.